Guys, this is Malorian, and this will be a Warmachine 101. Now, this is a segment I want to be doing a lot more in this channel. Back when I did Warhammer Fantasy, I had my Orc Tactical team that I did every week, or I tried to, and it was really something where I always hit the tactics or a way that a model or unit worked, and I really want to get to the same thing in Warmachine. And it's something that I put off until I felt I had enough experience. And I think I'm at that level now, so we're going to be trying to do that. Now, with that, I've also just started the Google Plus page, the Warmachine YouTubers. I'll have the link down below in the description. But really what I'm going to be doing is I'll be posting there and I'll be asking you guys, the viewers, hey, what do you want me to talk about? If I don't have anything there, or I have something I really want to talk about, I'll bring that up. But hey, if you guys have something you want me to talk about, much like my paint-a-sodes, I'd really like to be talking about what you guys want me to hear. And so with this brand new page, I had Lord Stannis Baratheon, who said, hey Malorian, could you talk about how to beat Butcher3? So of course, a nice easy topic to start this with. And of course I'm joking because Butcher3 is a real problem, right? This is not talking like, how do you do a headbutt or something like this. Dealing with Butcher3 is a massive, massive problem. And if you've not faced him before, it's one of these things where you almost have to walk into blind so you can be slapped across the face and realize how bad the situation can be. I kind of explained it there. For starters, he has a massive threat. So really the way it works for him is that he's speed 5, so he can be charging up to, an 8, and that's whatever, right? He has reach, but interestingly, when you're dealing with his threat range, the reach is almost not even part of it. And here's the reason why. So he is going to be charging 8 inches. After that, he can then be going to energize himself and of course the battle group up another 3 inches. Now, when he does that, all of a sudden you're at 11 inches. Okay, whatever, that's all right. Well, the problem is that then he has a spell that he casts for 1 focus that draws everything within 5 inches directly towards him. And this is why his reach doesn't really factor into his threat, because it doesn't matter that I'm reaching out 2 inches, you're still coming at me from 5 inches away. And so when you put all those together, that's 16 inches. If you're 16 inches away, this guy can come speeding across and get you, and it's really, really nasty. Now, you might try and think like, oh, I'll just try and camp this out and I'll be fine. Well, first of all, if you're a warlock, he has another spell that what he can just do is just go and have like, oh, you don't get to transfer any damage. I got grievous wounds and you can't heal and stuff. So, okay, boom, 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 you're in a lot of trouble. That can also be a big deal if he's going after your heavies, because sometimes you go after a war beast and fail, it's a big deal because they just get healed up and then they come right back at you. With Butcher3, he'll beat you up and say, haha, you can't heal. So that's a lot of trouble there. The other part is if you're a war caster and you're trying to camp to get higher armor, well, he's a weapon master and he has a lot of focus. He's going to have all of his focus, and then his feat gives him his focus back again. So it's a lot of weapon master attacks that he can always boost if he wanted to, and it really is a lot of problem there. Now, another challenge with Butcher3, and again, we're going to be getting in the end, like how you're going to try and counter this, but I'm wanting to explain the threat first so you then know how to deal with it. Another thing that can really come up that can extend this thing could be Madame Corbeau. And how this works is that if you're ever starting in her command range at the start of their turn in maintenance phase, one of the models, that could be Butcher3, gets to make a 3-inch move. And so then, instead of threatening 16 inches, now it's 19 inches. And so it just gets worse from here. Another one that we could be talking about is the whole idea where, hey, what if he comes with these little Arguses? I have a chance to kill an Argus, let's do it. Bad news, because once you kill one of those Arguses, and trust me, these Butcher3 players, they're going to be throwing those Arguses right in front. You're going to think they're morons, when the first time you face them, like, ha ha ha, I get to kill this Argus for free, you're so dumb. And then Butcher is also going to get a vengeance. So really, in the maintenance phase, between those two things, he's going to get to move 6 inches up. So again, now he's threatening 22 inches. Like, he's just screaming across the board. And Another thing is that you could always be using, if let's say he's a little bit blocked behind, Madeline Corbeau could be moving somebody else out of the way so that now Butcher can fit through the lines. So a real problem there. Another issue with this threat that we're talking about, like 22 inches, and of course there's pushes and silly stuff there that could happen. The other part with this is that it's also non-linear. So, for example, what Butcher3 could do is, let's say you're on the other side of a house. Like, how are you going to get me? This is so silly. Well, I'm going to charge over at an angle, energizer up, and then pull you across to me, right? Like, it's really kind of crazy how he does this. So even just because there's not a straight line between you doesn't mean you're safe. He has a lot of kind of movement tricks that he can really deal with to get you. Another issue is a lot of times if you had to worry about somebody coming at you, you just throw dudes in front of you, and what is he going to do, right? This is no big deal whatsoever. Well, he can deal with that too, because he also has another spell called Flashing Blade. And so what he could do is, let's say, for example, you have a bunch of guys in front of your caster, you're farther back, you're like, you're going to hit these guys and stop. Well, no, he's going to charge that front unit. Maybe you're already, Vengeanced up or Madeline Corbeau or whatever. Charge into those troops. Pull them all in. Flashing Blade. Kill them all. Now that everything is dead around him, now he's energizing up. Then he's going to be pulling your caster, who was 8 inches away from that front line of troops, and pulling you towards you, right? Because Energizer plus the 5. So it's... wow, I mean, all of a sudden, that's not even enough to really deal with that. And again, let's say again, too, that you have 2 lines of troops. It could be almost the same thing, because you charge in there, Flashing Blade, kill all those guys, then you go and you energize her up, pull them in again, Flashing Blade. And even if it's a thing where like you're hoping to have enough guys that when he pulls them all in, that when he Flashing Blades, that maybe you're still out of the 2 inches, well, keep this in mind that both those spells are one focus. And so he can easily Flashing Blade and kill all those guys and then pull you in again. And there's very few casters that can survive after this happens. If you want to try and, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? And so maybe the better way to deal with Butcher is just to kill him. Well, here's the problem with that. He's armor or defense 14, which is pretty decent. Of course, he's going to have the 1-point War Dog with him, so that's could be a major issue. And he's also going to be camping a lot of focus. You could be taking Epic Iris to try and strip that off, but then there's always going to be the Ogre and Bokir as well. So, really, there can be lines and lines of defense on this guy, and he's just trying to move up and explode and get you. So there you go. I've talked about all the bad, all the scary stuff about Butcher3. Now the question is, how are you going to be dealing with him? Well, the first thing is that when you see Butcher3 in the pairing, you have to look to your armor cracker. So if you have a list that's designed to deal with multiple colossals, or it's your real armor cracking list. Maybe it has some fixtures in there such as Ragman or Ayan and Holt, or better yet, it has multiple heavies that are fast and do really strong POWs. Those are what you're going to need to have in your list. Of course, stuff that has a longer threat range are good, but realize that Butcher is going to out-threat you anyway. So really, in a way, you're just going to need to have a lot of strong stuff, and the normal things you'd be using to try and take out Colossals is how you're going to be looking at Butcher3. Now, as you're engaging Butcher3, what you're going to want to do is clear away all that chaff. What they're going to be trying to do is basically throw guys in the way to keep you busy, try and get you to dedicate, get into Madeline Corbeau, and just arrange the assassination. Don't fall for that. If you really need to get up there, try and find a way to kill off Madeline, be it a magic bullet or whatever you need to do. If you have a shot at Madeline, try and take it. Now remember that she is going to have Sucker, so that makes it kind of difficult to kill her. But hey, if you ever have the opportunity, take her out, because she's really going to be helping Butcher3. Because again, when we're talking about these non-linear threats, if you take away that little 3-inch move, that could really take a lot of the bite out of him. As well, sometimes too, you'll catch them where they have Butcher3 and a lot of stuff in front of them to keep him safe. Meanwhile, they might have the Arguses out there to try and trigger vengeance. Well, if you can kill the Arguses without also triggering Madeleine Corbeau, well, basically he has nothing to do. You kill off both his dogs and he can't vengeance anywhere. He can vengeance backwards, but that's even better for you. And one of the reasons why you want to kill these Arguses is not only because they're, monsters, they're going to attack you and all this stuff, but they also give him Pathfinder. And once you take Pathfinder away, well, then all of a sudden you can start playing some games with terrain and stuff like this. So it's a really big deal if you can actually pull that off. Now, that aside, like I said, you need to try and really deal with all the chaff in front. So keep your distance. Hopefully it's not Killbox. Killbox against Butcher3 can be a really nasty situation, but you want to be trying to keep your distance as long as you can, cast her more than 16 inches away, and just trying to clear that away. So how are you doing that without triggering Madeleine Corbeau? Probably ranged. But, I know that's not available to everyone. This question was not like, how does Convergence beat Butcher3? It was just more in a generality. So I'm just going to leave this as a generality. I could talk about Cygnar because I know Cygnar, but I'm going to keep things general. So kill what you can. If you do have Epic Iris and you're planning to try and strip off that focus, just like, sorry guys, I still got a bit of this cough here. Just like you're trying to kill Madeleine Corbeau, you're also going to need to look for that opening to kill the Ogre and Beaucoeur, because he is going to be that main shield guard. And he has some boxes, a little bit tough, but hey man, if you can go and dedicate and take that guy out, then all of a sudden when you want to go and actually shoot off that focus, now you'll be in a better position for that. So look for these things. It's almost like facing trolls where you need to go and take away their support so eventually you can deal with them. It's the same type of idea. There's all these different factors that are really helping him, and if you can knock those away, that's fantastic. Meanwhile, you could actually have a few things of your own that are really countering Butcher3. One of those things could be anything that stops magic. So if you have something like Orin Midwinter, that's a major one, or maybe you're running Chromax that's saying no magic. If you're taking away the ability for him to Flashing Blade, the ability to draw things in, the ability to get grievous wounds, this can be a game changer, right? Having a 2-point Orin Midwinter in your list can be an absolute game changer. And you might not have that in your list. If it is your meta that, okay, it turns out Butcher3 is all over the place, okay, well, you might want to be building into your list to deal with Butcher3. Otherwise, I'm going to be assuming that you're running your anti-colossal build. Okay, so we have that part. Now, we're going to be dealing with Butcher. You've cleared out the chaff as best you can, maybe taken out some support pieces. And another part of the support piece we didn't talk about is also the dog. If you have a shot on that dog, again, he's 1 point, but man, if you can take a heavy to shoot down that dog, go for it, because he'll be a very big deal, saying no knockdown and extra defense and stuff. Get this guy killed if possible. So there you go, we've done this part. Now you have these heavies. And one of the biggest things you want to have for this is multiple heavies. Because like I said, Butcher3 is going to out-threat you, and he's going to be able to take out these heavies. And the last situation you want to be in is where Butcher3 is taking away your heavy hitters, and now you have no way to threaten him, and he just spends the rest of the game slowly killing all your guys. You don't want to be in that situation. So you almost have to bait him in by giving him a heavy, and then you have to have something to back up with that. Now, at the same time, you have to be very careful, because if given a chance, he'll find a spot in the middle, cast that spell to bring together all your heavies, and then Flashing Blade them all down. And remember, too, that if possible, what he's going to do is try and kill you with his original focus, and then feat again, well, not again, feat to get all of his focus back to camp on. And then all of a sudden, like I said, you're down all your heavies, there's Butcher3 fully camped, and you're basically screwed. So be very careful with that positioning. Now, something with that is the way about how the pull works. You can make sure that there's other models in the way, so they'll be bumping, or walls. Walls is a fantastic thing, because they're just going to go and tink, hit that. You have to be careful, because of course if you're Jack or Heavy or whatever, doesn't have Pathfinder, you don't want to be on the other side of a wall and then not be in a position where you can counter. But again, you want to be a spot where, okay, if he kills this, I can't be dragged in, and I can counter here. And that's really what it comes down to is, I mean, let's say you're playing Scorn. I might have one heavy up ahead, and then what am I going to have in the back? The bronze back. Bronze back is be back there just waiting. Like, okay, Butcher3, you kill that, and I'm going to kill you. It's almost like when you're doing your peace trades for another heavy, except this heavy is a freaking caster and has a feat that makes him armor a bajillion. So it really is a big deal. Again, if you have those either Epic Iris to take off those focus, or if you have Ragman, or if you have Ian and Holt, those things can really, really help. If you already killed the dog, you can knock him down, deal with the defense that way. But yeah, it's not always the easiest thing to do. Now, here's another part. Maybe killing Butcher is not really the thing you can really do. Well, there's also scenario. Now, this can be a little dangerous thing, but I mean, if you're playing Incursion or the 2 circles or something like this, what you can kind of try and do is try and see which way Butcher is going, try and slow him down, and then try and really score your points on the other zone. It's really dangerous because Butcher3 can clear zones really efficiently. So if you're going to do that, you have to be doing a very good job of your spacing and having really hard targets and whatever you need to do to try and stop your guys from being pulled in. But yeah, I mean, it is another option. And again, you know, even if you kill off the other things around Butcher3 and then he can't contest because he's a Warcaster, well, that's great. Then get in there, score in his zone, try and get that scenario. But again, that's really dangerous. But hey, like I said, it might be your only option. So in summary, watch for that threat range, know the threat range, take out those support pieces as soon as you can, and really you need to treat them as another heavy, like a Colossal, that you need to have multiple threats to take him out, because realizing he's going to have the alpha and you're going to need to counter it. So either way, there you go for this Warmachine 101. I'll be doing another one next week, and we'll catch you then. Bye.